You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Voters in New Hampshire go to the polls tomorrow, where it is a tight race. Senator Bernie Sanders is in the lead. Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of SouthBend, Indiana, he, of course, is also running second. Lots of attention in the Granite State. But there's still a lot of people talking about Buttigieg when it comes to his record with African Americans. In Friday's debate, ABC's Lindsay Davis pressed him on the issue of African Americans being arrested in his city.
Back to the original question, though. How do you explain the increase in black arrests in South Bend under your leadership for marijuana possession?
And again, the overall rate was lower.
No, there was an increase. The year before you were in office, it was lower. Once you became in office in 2012, that number went up. In 2018, the last year that we have a record for, that number was still up.
Yeah. And one of the strategies that our community adopted was to target when there were cases where there was gun violence and gang violence, which was slaughtering so many in our community. Burying teenagers, disproportionately black teenagers. We adopted a strategy that said that drug enforcement would be targeted in cases where there was a connection to the most violent group or gang connected to a murder. These things are all connected, but that's the point. So are all of the things that need to change in order for us to prevent violence and remove the effects of systemic racism, not just from criminal justice, but from our economy, from health, from housing, and from our democracy itself.
Senator Warren, is that a substantial answer from Mayor Buttigieg?
No.
That answer did not sit well with City Councilman-elect Henry Davis. This is what he tweeted that night. Quote, as a councilman in South Bend, I know why Pete Buttigieg looked like a deer in headlights last night when talking about systemic racism in the South Bend police. He tolerated it, perpetuated it, and last night he lied to millions of Americans about it. Joining us right now is Councilman Henry Davis. First of all, sir, thank you for joining us at Roland Martin Unfiltered.
How you doing, Roland? Thank you for having me.
So first and foremost, you were not happy with the answer from Mayor Buttigieg.
It wasn't an answer. He just kind of like wanted to go over some details of some programming that he thought that was going to satisfy the panelists' question. That was not an answer. That was a way of dodging the question that was out there.
Do you believe that that he is skirting around the issue? Many others have been highly critical of his record, not only when it comes to arrests of African Americans, but also black businesses in South Bend, Indiana. He also, though, has his supporters of African Americans there in South Bend. He had an ad that featured the president of the South Bend, Indiana NAACP. Your thoughts on that?
Well, sure. You're going to always have your supporters. I mean, you even have people that still cheer on Larry Bird when Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever to play basketball. So, I mean, you're always going to have the people that go to another side. But here in South Bend, we've had a number of issues that need to be corrected. The Daily Beast just a few days ago wrote an article talking about zero monies going to the black community through contracts for over 3 years straight. That was under his leadership. So you have a number of things, again, that does not go towards the idea of black people getting their fair share in South Bend, Indiana. And it's on purpose. I mean, the only way that it can happen if it's on purpose. But the larger issue right now where we got to talk about, Roland, is, the Democratic Party and how the Democratic Party has poisoned itself to try to win and beat Donald Trump when the person that they're trying to put their money behind has absolutely no black support. Has zero black support. And that's a colossal fail. And that's a slap in the face to the black voter that participates in the Democratic Party. So we have to figure out what happens next.
Well, here's the deal. First of all, there are African Americans. There are African Americans who are supporting Mayor Buttigieg. He has received the endorsements of course, Congressman Anthony Brown of Maryland and others as well. But to your point, first of all, we've only had one state vote, and that was barely vote, only 170,000 people. And so moving forward, what do you believe should be asked of Pete Buttigieg by African Americans and others as he makes the case why he should be the Democratic nominee?
Well, Roland, again, I think it's insane to ask him anything else. He was the mayor here in South Bend, Indiana for 8 years. Under his leadership here in South Bend, the black community's poverty rate increased upwards to 50%. We have double-digit black unemployment. Our schools and our black communities are failing. They're talking about closing 5 more right now. You're talking about the lowest number of African Americans serving in this police department right now. You just started seeing some black department heads, but now that there's a new administration in, he's already told you what he was going to do, what he is going to do, and what he has done. I don't have any more questions to ask somebody that didn't told me who they are. So I think the Democratic Party needs to focus their efforts on someone who has the ability to bring in the black vote and to make sure the black vote is not only voting, but is satisfied and continues to get what they need from this process that we call electoral politics.
All right, Councilman Henry Davis, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for joining us at Roland Unfiltered.
Thank you.
All right, I want to go to my panel right now. Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver, political analyst. Also, Derek Holly, he is the president of Reaching America, also political analyst, and Lauren Victoria Burke. She's a consultant with Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. I want to start with you, Avis. Obviously, so much attention is on Pete Buttigieg, but here's the point that I keep making. I don't understand why folks are having a problem with this. One state has voted. 170,000 people turned out. It is nonsense to me to somehow anoint that the nominee is going to be Pete Buttigieg or is going to be Senator Bernie Sanders, because guess what? Folks haven't voted yet. Absolutely. I mean, I don't understand why Democrats are going crazy when one state has voted.
He has a very loud minority of Democrats who are pushing him, and I believe trying to push him on the rest of us. Yeah. Because what you just said was absolutely true. In fact, I would say that no state has voted because Iowa had a disaster of a caucus system, and even within the caucus system, he didn't receive the majority of the votes. So through some magical formulation, he got the slightly higher delegate count, but nobody can trust any of those results given what happened. The bottom line to me is when the first 2 states are over 90% white, and performance in those 2 states are somehow used as kingmakers, it to me shows a privilege of white concerns that is not at all reflective of the Democratic Party, much less the rest of America. To me, whoever wins in Iowa or New Hampshire means nothing to me. Right. I need to see who's going to really be able to pull together the diverse coalition that's actually going to be necessary in order to win the presidential contest in November.
Derek, when you begin to break this thing down, look, you have New Hampshire voting tomorrow, then you have Nevada, then you have South Carolina as well. But the key is going to be on March 3rd, Super Tuesday. There you go. I pull the numbers. If you go back to 1992, Bill Clinton did not win his first state until Georgia. It was the 6th state. He then lost another half dozen before he won South Carolina. So he actually won 3 of the first 14 primaries, and he went on to win the nomination and become a 2-term president. And so I don't understand. I'm watching James Carville lose his mind on MSNBC and talk about Michael Bennett is the guy. I can't even get 1% in the polls. If you think Pete Buttigieg has no black support, check out Michael Bennett, who has less black support than Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, who are at 0.
Well,
Derek, go ahead.
I think Buttigieg, I think Dr. Avis and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, for whatever reason, this boy's been chosen. He's been anointed for some reason. And I think it'll be straight because he's white and gay. He's something the Democratic Party think that they could put out there and maybe have a shot. But we all know, again, this has just been 2 states, New Hampshire and Iowa, who don't represent a whole lot of black people. I would say the other thing is, man, have you ever been to South Bend? I had the chance to go a couple years ago. Only things out there is Notre Dame football, and that's why I was out there. But there's not a lot of opportunity out there for black people.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Are you looking to enhance your leadership or that of your team in 2020? Well, you might want to join Dr. Jackie Hood Martin's newest online course and mastermind group, Successful People Think. She will be your guide as you learn timeless leadership principles to apply to daily living. Of course, she's a certified John Maxwell instructor, and so you want to take advantage of this. The offer expires February 28th. To register or to start the online course today, go to www.live2lead.com/Leesburg, right here. Live, the number 2, lead, LEAD.com/Leesburg. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.